Hello, my creative friends. I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. Recently, Teresa asked me if I would be willing to be a guest designer over at her Card a Day Challenge blog. Thank you, Teresa, for asking me. I'm just honored to be here. So I have here a piece of Stampin' Up's Whisper White cardstock. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm using my grid mat as a guide. So I have my cardstock lined up on the grid mat, and I'm going to count up 1 3/4 inches. Each of those little squares is actually 1/4 of an inch. So I'll line it up, and then I'll line up my T-square ruler with my cardstock along that center line. You can see it's a little bit darker on the grid. And this is just to get a straight line to do my stamping. Once I have it lined up, I'm just going to use my mechanical pencil to draw a really faint line. And then I'm counting in to mark the middle point. So it's 5 1/2 inches. The middle point would be 2 3/4 inches. I'm using the Girl's Best Friend stamp set from Little Inker Designs. I just pulled out that large diamond, and I'm going to ink it up with Pull Party ink and stamp it right down on that center mark that I made on the cardstock. Sorry about my head getting in the way. And once I have that first diamond done, it's really easy to line up the ones on either side. I just make sure the bottom point is touching that line on the bottom and that the gems touch each other just on the sides, barely. Next, I will take one of the smaller gems in this set, and I'm going to stamp it upside down using Lost Lagoon ink. As you can see, I lined it up on the bottom, and then I made sure they were evenly spaced on the sides of the gem next to them. And that easy, I have a row of stamped diamonds. At this point, I wasn't really sure which color I wanted my sentiment to be. So I'm just going to stamp it a couple of different times and see which colors I like best. But I'm going to stay with the same Pull Party and Lost Lagoon colors. This stamp set also comes with some fun confetti sparkles that I decided to add to my darker Lost Lagoon sentiment, and I really like that, so that's the one I ended up using. And I have here the postage stamp punch from Stampin' Up. I think it might be retired or retiring. Might be gone by the time you guys see this video. I'm sorry if it is. You could easily substitute with another punch you have, or just cut it down using one of your paper trimmers. So I'm lining it up with a punch, punching it out, and then I'm going to layer it with the colored cardstock that matches my ink colors. You could layer this on a card base and call your card done. It'd be a nice, clean, and simple card. But I wanted to bling it up just a bit. So I am taking my Wink of Stella glitter pen. It's a clear glitter. And I'm just going over all of my gems with that. Once the Wink of Stella is dry, I'll take a clean eraser and just erase that pencil line. It doesn't take very long for it to dry. My plan was just to cut about a 1/2 inch off the bottom, but I ended up cutting the entire panel down and decided to double mat it. So it's 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then the first mat is 1/8 of an inch bigger, and then the next mat is 1/8 of an inch bigger than that. I'm adhering all the layers just using my snail adhesive, trying to line it up and center it as best I can. Pop up that sentiment, I'm just going to use a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals and place it in the lower right-hand corner. My final step is to add some glossy accents. It works just like Stampin' Up's Crystal Effects. It goes on a little bit cloudy, but when it dries shiny and clear with a little bit of dimension. I went over the lines just a smidge So to fix that, I'm going to take my paper piercing tool and just lightly scrape it off of the edge, and that will give me a nice crisp finish. I'm just going to finish doing all of these diamonds and then set it aside to dry. It takes about an hour for it to dry. I usually just set it aside and come back the next day. Here you see what it looks like. You can really see that glitter underneath the crystal effect. It's kind of pretty. If you like this card, be sure and click the like button. If you're on YouTube, you might want to subscribe to see more cards from me, including that card right in the center. I've got another video coming next week showing how I did that card. Thank you, Teresa, for having me on Card a Day Challenge. I hope all of you will check out her challenge and maybe be inspired yourself. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you find some time today to get creative. Bye!